Hey guys, I'm gonna try to make a relatively short video today. I didn't make one for yesterday because I was helping my grandma out, bringing her to her appointment, and her favorite cousin is currently in hospice, so she wanted me to stick around like all day, and I couldn't really deny her to take time out of my day to make this silly little video, so that was more important to me. Anyways, I guess what I want to talk about today is how like a series gets corrupted. So I've been listening to like Homeworld lore, and I can't remember how exactly it came up. Oh no, I actually remember. I was watching Mandalore Gaming or Mandalore lore, is it called? I forget. Anyways, he's a relatively popular YouTuber, makes like a video like once every 3 months. And sometimes more than that. He does good game reviews. And they were talking about it. And I never got through the first game. And a lot of you might like look down on me for that, but I think what I did is that I was playing the remastered version. And there was like this one mission where you have to go through like a minefield. And I'm a stickler for always making sure that I get everything that I can in the level before leaving. So there's like a part where you have to go through the minefield and you travel through three-dimensional space. So you can move up, down, left, right, forward, back. If you go into the minefield, you'll end up taking a lot of damage and you'll lose all your ships. So you gotta go through this very tedious, narrow path. It's a pain in the butt. And there's a lot of extra objectives. And if you go through like the entire thing and you get to the end, if you like lost too many ships, it's like impossible to finish it. And I don't remember if I actually finished the level, but I either stopped at that mission or the mission after. And I think what might have happened, and I think I was playing the remastered version, and I didn't realize that, I didn't know that they never actually made a patch to fix some of the mechanics in the game from the original. And that you're actually supposed to download, like, a player mod that actually fixes the game. It's like, yeah, apparently they weren't given enough funding to actually do all the little tweaks that they needed, and they just got called off. And it's very typical of like games like that. The Homeworld franchise is not that big of a series. I mean, it is, but it's more like kind of like a cult classic type of thing. It's not like AAA or anything. But because of that, people should have realized that after funding was pulled for 2, that the company was going to do something stupid. Now, it used to be owned by Gearbox. I'm not sure if it still is. But they eventually came out with a Homeworld 3. And they completely changed the entire thing. Like, the original Homeworld games never really shows you any faces. Now, it was very heavily hinted that the species you play as in the original game in Homeworld 1 were human. But it never, like, they're not from Earth. They apparently been living on this alien world for so long that they completely forgotten their original homeworld. And before that, like 4,000 years before that, before their exile, they were on a different homeworld, which again is not Earth. It's Earth-like, but not Earth itself. So it's kind of ambiguous what kind of species they are, whether they're like humanoid, like something out of Star Trek, or whether they're actually human. But Homeworld 3 undoes all of that, and throughout that kind of mysticism and the mysticism element and like the kind of like mysterious, like this is a grand world kind of feeling to it. Wow, this guy really is going too fast. I do not want to be this close to a truck behind me. Anyways, it's all just really stupid. Those games are supposed to feel like it expands, like you're going through like this huge journey, like you're these guys. It kind of feels like you're on your exodus, like from the Bible or something, trying to find your true holy land or something along the lines. It's interesting. And again, 3 kind of undid all of that by making it obvious that basically like all the species besides the ancient one, like the Basuzi, I think it's called, Baluzi or something. Again, I'm just learning about the lore, so excuse me if I get anything wrong. But like all the species are basically human except for like the one that's been around for 10,000 years or so. Again, there's a lot of interesting stuff I'm learning about it. But people like might wonder like how this kind of thing happens, how a game series is ruined so thoroughly. Now, there are people out there who break down why Homeworld 3 is such a huge departure from the original. Like I said, Mandalore lore, or God, I can't believe I don't remember his name. But also Arch Warhammer on its Archcast channel also broke down why the game is very different. And he even like points out a PhD, like some kind of doctor who was put on the game for the story writing. She literally has like a PhD in writing, and she was put on the game, and it's very clear that she was a big part of why it all went wrong. It's like, you think that the original creator wouldn't allow the game to turn into this, when they know for a fact this is a very bad way to make a sequel. Even in the manual, so, God, I gotta go back. So, in the original game, you had a manual, and the manual was actually 125 pages long. And basically the manual is there to outline the entire universe. It's like a small book, a small guidebook, like smaller than a novelette, but still pretty beefy. And it doesn't tell a story, it basically explains like all the different parts of the universe and what exactly is going on. Because the species you play as, their actual name is the Hagarans, but they go by a different name in the game because they were exiled to a distant planet a long time ago, about 4,000 years before the game starts. And then you have to find your old homeworld based on information left behind by your ancestors. And when you start to travel through space, it turns out that there was a treaty saying that you would never leave your new homeworld ever again. That if you ever developed warp travel, that was carte blanche to wipe out your species. So it turns out that as soon as you warp away for the first time as a test, the planet behind you is burned to ashes, killing a great majority of the species. However, since you're using tech that's very strong, even 4,000 years after you disappeared, when in exile, your technology is so far advanced, because you're using old technology from a precursor race that was way more advanced than anything else in the galaxy. So advanced, in fact, that, well, the technology can be, you can get some reverse engineering out of it, but you can't totally replicate it. And they put a lot of love into that. And then the second game, similarly, they put a bunch of love into it, but the story didn't go quite in the direction people were expecting, and some people weren't happy about it. And then you had Cataclysm, which also seems like it was a relatively good game. So you would think a creator who lovingly made these games would know better. So why would somebody who's been working on these games for decades just suddenly, let some random writer come in and ruin the whole thing? You gotta think about it for a second. There's a bunch of reasons why somebody like that would just kind of give up and just do what they're told. And to paint a stereotype, you can imagine it in one way. Now, I'm not sure if it's true of the Homeworld developer, and it's not true of everybody, but one possible reason is you get a programmer or something. Somebody who's got an idea, somebody who's just excellent at making a story. And they program the entire thing, what have you. It's a relatively big company, but this is the type of person that, just lives in their basement all day. They'll be down there for 4 days at a time. Just people bringing them food and water once in a while to make sure that they survive. And they just are so focused on their project, they keep making it. Somebody like that, may be a little bit, socially awkward. So when somebody comes in and basically tells them how they should make the next game, saying that they know better, saying all that kind of stuff, hey, you should be doing it this way or whatever, the mainstream audience that you never could find wants it this way. If you're a relatively awkward person, you're not going to give much pushback to that. It would be very, I would say mean to put, somebody like that in an environment like this, where, somebody is basically giving them orders all day, and they're too, socially awkward to stand by it, or stand by their original vision. Because in the manual for the third game, the original creator says that the development director wanted him to put in a human face to the game. He's it's very clear that what he thinks about that, just by that sentence alone, that he is not he didn't agree. He thought this was ridiculous. Then you got your other type of person. Somebody who's center of the road, doesn't really care about politics, all they care about is making their game. But they're a relatively empathetic person. And they're told that, hey, we gotta have this put into the game, and we gotta have kind of a DEI situation. And they'll think to themselves, yeah, that's not really what my thing is about, but yeah, alright, I guess I get it. We need to empower women or whatever. It's people mistreat women all the time. We treat them like they're porcelain dolls or whatever. And they think they're being nice and kind. And they think it's their empathy is being played upon. So they're okay, we'll try it that way. It can't be that bad, right? And then it completely ruins the experience by putting in all this woke crap into the game. Or you might have a situation where somebody, is kind of afraid. They know that, some random person comes in. I think this is I don't want to give the wrong name. The name coming to mind is Alyssa McConte, but I don't know if that's actually it. I think I'm thinking about somebody else. I'm thinking about the, one of the founders of Sweet Baby Inc. Oh god, that name, by the way. God, that name, by the way. It sounds like a really bad porn site name. It's just awful. But I think the founder, Sweet Baby Inc., said that you basically have to come in, threaten people, to threaten to get them fired, get them canceled, really put the screws to them and make sure that they understand that if they don't put in the DEI crap, that they're gonna ruin the lives of whoever it was that denied them. Like, they literally say it like that. Like, exactly. Very similar to that, anyways. And it's like somebody's like, you know what? I'm a big developer. If this goes on long enough, these games will fail. I don't want to get canceled. I don't want my life ruined. So I'll just make it like they want it. And then when it fails, maybe I'll have an opportunity to make my actual game later on when people start to become sane again. Or they're just, you know, terrified. They're not thinking about it logically, and they're just like, you know what, screw it. I don't want to ride the boat. I don't want people with Molotovs coming to my place of business or to my house and start throwing crap at me. Totally possible. And the other option is it's somebody who's made a bunch of games. They basically made the games they wanted, and then they're told, hey, you have to make a sequel, and they're just like shrugging their shoulders like, okay, I mean, I made a lot of money on the other ones, I guess that's fine. But then they're told they have to make all these changes to the game, all these changes to the lore, all these changes that completely ruin the experience. And somebody like that might have somewhat of a big head, like pretty, I wouldn't say arrogant, but justifiably proud of what they created. And when they're told that everything they made was wrong, and they don't understand what they're doing, and then you have to listen to the DEI people to make a better game, to appeal to a wide stream audience. Somebody who's already made their money, already made their game, will like, oh, finally, I can make a stupid game that will completely and utterly fail, and then I can stop making these games. I want them to move on to something else, but they keep pulling me in for sequels that are so, like, soulless and dead. And they'll just build whatever they're told, knowing that it's gonna fail, that the franchise will die, and they can just move on to something else. That's pretty sad, man. Those can be pretty sad. And you get interviews from these, like, creators who make games or shows or series like this. Like, you listen to George Lucas talk about the sequel series, or Mark Hamill talking about how they treated Luke Skywalker. And it's very obvious that they hate, like, everything that's been done. But both George and Mark are, like, left-leaning in the case of George, and far left for Mark Hamill. So they'll complain about it, but they won't actually do anything to stop it. In fact, Mark Hamill doubles down on the wokeness crap all the time, despite knowing that all this woke crap coming from people is actually ruining the series. But because he wants Kamala Harris to beat Trump, he'll bitch about it a little bit, but he doesn't connect the fact that the woke stuff is coming from the Democrat side, the left-leaning side. And he doesn't make the connection that, hey, you know, maybe we shouldn't be doing stupid crap like this. Like, we shouldn't be voting for these people because these people are the ones who made the environment to cause all this DEI stuff to happen in the first place. Man, I gotta make a whole video on Mark Hamill sometime, because, man, where he ended up is a trip, man. But, you know, before I end up rambling on, I gotta get to work, so it's just, check out those other guys. I got, like, a playlist on my other channel right now, but it probably won't last, on Homeworld lore. I might keep it up for like a week or two, try to find some more lore to put into it to watch, but for now, by the time anyone actually watches this video, the playlist might be gone, but I'd look up those guys I mentioned, Mandalore and Arch, and look up theirs, and I think another one is Mac G or something. If I can remember it in a different video, I'll mention it. But, yep, I'm gonna leave it there, guys. It's sad to see a series be corrupted that badly, but sometimes the creator just can't or won't give any pushback when they know it's not the appropriate way to write a story. But it is what it is. It's sad every time it happens, but anyways, that's it for now, guys. Bye.